Imagine you bring fried chicken to ancient Greece, and before you can even take a bite, a barefoot, ugly, unwashed man appears out of nowhere and asks whether pleasure can truly be virtuous. That is the meme. That is also exactly what happened every day for 30 years until Athens sentenced him to death for it. The internet accidentally got Socrates completely right. Socrates was born in Athens around 470 BC, flat nose, bulging eyes, barefoot in every weather, ugly by his own admission. He never wrote a single word. What he did instead, every single day, was walk into the most public spaces in Athens and start asking questions. Not gentle questions. Questions designed to expose that the person answering them did not actually know what they thought they knew. He walked up to generals and asked what courage actually was. They started confidently. They ended humiliated. He walked up to politicians and asked what justice meant. Same result. Poets, craftsmen, wealthy men, religious leaders. Everyone who sat down with Socrates left the conversation publicly unable to define the things they had built their entire identity around. He called this the Socratic method. History calls it the foundation of Western philosophy. The internet calls it ragebait. All three are correct. But here is what separates Socrates from anyone posting ragebait today. He was not doing it to be annoying. He believed, genuinely, completely, without doubt, that most people were living under a dangerous illusion. They thought they already understood courage, justice, what made a good life. And because they believed they already knew, they had stopped asking, they had stopped thinking, they had stopped questioning anything at all. Socrates believed this false certainty, not ignorance. But the belief that you are not ignorant was the most destructive force in human civilization. He described himself as a gadfly, a small irritating insect that bites a horse, not to hurt it, but to stop it from falling asleep. Athens was the horse, Socrates was the fly, the questions were the bites. For 30 years this worked. And then Athens got tired of being bitten. In 399 BC, when Socrates was 70 years old, 3 men put him on trial. The charges, corrupting the youth of Athens and failing to respect the gods. But everyone in that courtroom knew what it was really about. A man had spent 30 years walking up to powerful people and making them look stupid in front of everyone. And they wanted him to stop. The jury voted guilty. Now here is where the story becomes something more than a meme. After the guilty verdict, Socrates was given the chance to propose his own punishment. He could have suggested exile. He could have promised to stop philosophizing. He could have apologized. He could have done anything that would have kept him alive. Instead, he suggested the court give him free meals for life as a reward for his service to the city. The jury sentenced him to death. His friends arranged an escape. The boat was ready. The path was clear. He refused. He said that a life where you stopped asking questions was not worth living, and that if the price of asking questions was death, he would pay it. On the day of his execution, surrounded by friends who were weeping, Socrates was calm, almost cheerful. He took the cup of hemlock from the jailer. He asked a few questions. Of course he did. And then he drank. The numbness started in his feet, moved slowly upward until it reached his heart. His last words, recorded by Plato, were a reminder to a friend to pay a small debt he owed. Not a final speech, not a great declaration, just a man making sure something small got done right, until the very last moment he could speak. The meme is funny because Socrates will not stop asking questions. The real story is devastating for exactly the same reason. He would not stop, not for money, not for comfort, not for exile, not for death, because he believed the questions were more important than his life. In his own defense, standing in front of the jury that had just convicted him, he said something that has survived 2,400 years. The unexamined life is not worth living. He said it knowing what it would cost him. So the next time the skeleton shows up in ancient Greece, and Socrates immediately starts asking annoying questions, remember that he did this in real life, every day, for 30 years, to generals, to politicians, to the most powerful men in Athens. And when they finally gave him a choice, his questions or his life, he chose the questions. Every video is a boulder, every watch a push up the hill. Thank you for being here. This is Philokimi. Until next time.